I never knew my great-uncle Bill, but this is a story about him. Uncle Bill was the son of Mary McNally Allison and William Earl Allison. He was the only boy in a family of 7 children, the youngest being my grandmother, Phyllis Allison. In 1942, the Second World War had been going on for 3 years, and my great-uncle, like 1 million other Canadians, decided to enlist. He joined the RCAF and spent a couple of years being trained and later training others in Canada. By 1944, it was his turn to go overseas. My great-grandmother felt in her heart the day she said goodbye to him that she would never see him again. She was right. One stormy November night, while out on a training mission, Bill Allison died in a plane crash. His family always believed he had died in England, because he was training there and was also buried in Chester, England. But they were no longer alive when his only living relative, my grandmother Phyllis, discovered that the site where her brother's plane crashed was in fact in the mountains in Wales, and that the plane remnants had been lying there to this day.
In the local village of Innisfwen, Eric Price, who was 22 years of age at the time, saw a fiery glow in the mountains.
You could see it was on fire, and you could see it plane shining up, you know. That's how I come across that. I knew there was a plane up there. Yeah.
A few days later, Mr. Price went to the scene of the crash.
I found this photo, and I've kept it in my album since 1944.
So through Eric Price and the photograph he found, we learned that the crash site had been on Carrick Gog in Wales, and that the wonderful people of this region revered the site, visiting it routinely, especially on Remembrance Day. This year, 69 years after the plane crash, with the help of these same people in Wales, we accompanied my grandmother to the site of the crash.
Okay.
So we have come very well equipped with sunscreen, plenty of water. We've got towels if anybody needs to have a cold towel flung over them. These, if you're getting hot and you're walking, we'll just stop and wait. There's no hurry. We've got 5 seats for people who are not well equipped for walking, especially our guest of honour here. We've got food, cups of tea, the old Brits, you know, have a cup of tea. So we will venture up, take it at a very nice gentle pace.
The last one. There we go.
Thank you.
I am dreaming of the mountains of my home, of the mountains where in childhood I would roam. I have dwelt 'neath southern skies, where the summer never dies, but my heart is in the mountains of my home. I can see that little homestead on the hill. I can hear the magic music of the rill. There is nothing to compare with the love that once was there in that lonely little homestead on the hill. I can see the quiet churchyard down below, where where the mountain breezes wander to and fro. And when God my soul will keep, it is there I want to sleep with those dear old folk who loved me long ago.
How was the climb?
Fine.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
A little warm, I bet. No, the ride is like, you see the rocks he's driving over?
And how's Phyllis?
He's fine.
Yeah. We are being taken care of. Look at this, a campfire and everything.
Like a cup of coffee?
What's that?
Like a cup of coffee? I was taking photographs at normal speed. And I had to speed the camera up because he was going so busy. The ones I'd had were coming out all blur.
I think I'm the queen.
This is better than if we had gone 7 years ago because we're all here. It would have been just the two of you. But 7 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
It's terrible and it's wonderful. Earth jam. No, Earth. Here. Nice to see you. He's a terrific photographer. This is Dan.
It's nice to see you at last, you know, and looking so well.
It's just marvelous and otherworldly, I'd say.
Well, this is not true.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's wonderful, Bob.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's see your plaque.
Yeah, where's my phone?
Right here, Phyllis.
You just have to change the date.
What does that say? BPJCS.
British Petroleum apprentices they were. They built this cairn and put the plaque on.
And when was this plaque put up?
About, I don't know. I don't remember that. I wouldn't know that. There's
Bomb aimer.
tell you a little
He was a
secret.
bomb.
John would ever tell you. 3 of these screws are drilled into the concrete down there. One of them, that limestone we couldn't drill it. It's just stuck on.
See, it's a memorial that they did.
I know. These crosses.
There's no date on it, is there?
Mums, but obviously there was one there before.
I've laminated all the information there now. We can take this back now and leave that one here
Okay,
and had
you know where to
information.
put it. You put it.
Yeah. And you know what this plate is here, don't you?
No.
That plate was underneath the pilot's seat.
Was it?
If they were being shot from beneath.
Oh my God.
And that's the flag we put up today, eh?
Yes.
Where is Janice? Well, Adrian is for the sound.
I got it, Graham.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm sitting here with my Welsh family, Arwell on my right, Bill on my left, and I'm lucky enough to be with some of my children and my grandchildren. I want to start by invoking the names of the mother and father of this Bill Allison that lies here. He lies here. His body's somewhere else, but he lies here. Mary Ruth McNally and William Earl Allison, they had 7 children. Their eldest was Mary Catherine, who married John O'Neill. The next one was Frances, who became a nun, Frances Helena. And then their one and only was born, William Joseph, Bill. And then came Anne Parry, who was his closest sibling in age and in heart. Then came Beatrice, who died in her 50s of cancer. And then there was Joan, Julia Joan Allison de Russo. And then, 7 years later, I was born. So I was 12 when my brother was killed. But I feel as if all of these people are with me. Also, Lorraine Taylor Thompson, who was engaged to him and who was my sister's best friend and who became part of the family forever. She died in her 50s, so I didn't know her children, which I would have done if she had kept on living. But I discovered where they were in Maine, and I made connection with them 2 years ago. And they had this Air Force pin. Now, I didn't know this existed until 2 years ago. So this is Bill's Air Force pin. So another kind of a little miracle. I mean, I knew it was going to be a lovely day. This is meant to be. This is meant to be. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we will remember them. In the glowing of the wind and in the chill of the winter, we remember them. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spirit, we will remember them. In the blueness of the sky and the warmth of the summer, we will remember them. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember them. As long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us, as we remember them. Ernest Burke, Artie Grew, Charles Hamel, Jerry Sablin, Jules Villeneuve, Bill Allison, you have been remembered by these extraordinary people in Wales. They remain in our heart forever. We are joined and linked, and they are our family. And I will mention one more person. I will mention John Ganley, who is a very dear friend who died of cancer this week. So I think of you too, John. I knew you'd be here in our hearts when we came up. So this is my cousin Julia, daughter of Anne, Bill's sister.
My name is Julia Parry. My mother was Anne Allison, the sister of Bill and Phyllis. Mum, so Anne, was a year younger than Bill, and she was very close to him in friendship, as well as in age. She adored her older brother, who she described as being more of a soulmate than a sibling. My mum's best friend, Lorraine Taylor, was the one and only love of Bill's short life. They were engaged to marry when Bill went off to war. I was born in 1946, 2 years after Bill died in that tragic airplane accident. He is an uncle I know only from stories and pictures, but his story is part of my history and the immense sorrow his parents and siblings felt for the loss of a young life that was so filled with potential and dreams saddens me to this day. When I heard that my feisty and lovable aunt was headed your way, I wondered what my mother might send in the way of a greeting to all of you. It would surely include her eternal gratitude to all of you for standing guard and keeping watch over her dear brother, and for honoring him and his mates by taking care of the site of their last place on earth. Your humanity would have been a great comfort to her had she known about your existence. I likewise want to thank you all for watching over and caring for the uncle I never knew, but have always missed. Warmest regards, Julia Parry.
When Bill Allison was a young boy, even younger, his parents sent him to a French classical college in Quebec, in Joliette, Quebec, so he could learn French. And that's why when he enlisted in the RCAF, he joined the Alouette Squadron, which is composed of Quebec boys, some of whom crashed here. So in his memory, there's a song called Un Canadien errant in French, which is translated loosely a wandering Canadian, but it's about a Canadian who is exiled from his country. Un Canadien errant, banni de ses foyers, parcourait en pleurant des pays étrangers, parcourait en pleurant des pays étrangers. Si tu vois mon pays malheureux, si tu vois mon pays malheureux, va dire à mes amis que je me souviens d'eux. Va dire à mes amis que je me souviens d'eux. Un Canadien errant, banni de ses foyers. Un Canadien errant, banni de ses foyers, parcourait en pleurant des pays étrangers, parcourait en pleurant des pays étrangers.
We will contribute a Welsh one.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
And basically translated, it is a dear voice calling me, and all my friends can join. Mi glow of Danner lies on galw arnafi, I ddod a golchi mai gyd anafon Calvary. Arglwydd dyma fi, ardalwadi, cymerfennaid an y gwaed, a gaid ar Galfari. Gogoniant byth am drefn, ac amod ar glanhad, derbania Iesu fel yr wyf, a chanaf am y gwaed. Arglwydd dyma fi, ardalwadi, cymerfennaid an y gwaed, a gaid ar Galfari.
Beautiful. Thank you.
This is something the Canadian Air Force gave me to place
in memoriam.
in memoriam. So I'm so grateful. Thank you. And they sent a lovely French-Canadian man to help us do that. And this one was sent from the...
Well, it's from the caves, right?
From the cave. And it's got a picture of the... It's wonderful. They're all lovely. That's why I have the sisters. Nick knows how I feel about war and peace. I'm a pacifist. And I have come in my meditations in the last week or so, I've come to great peace with the fact that my brother was killed here, a brutal death on a bed of roses, a wonderful grand of the Welsh and the family that surrounded him. I can't be more grateful. And my other thought was, I know me and I therefore know him. If he had a choice, he would rather be killed than be the person who shot and killed innocent people, which is often what war is all about. 75 of our Canadians were killed in training. They were called heroes, they really were victims. It was the times and this is what we did, and they came up to the bat. It was merciless. But if it had to happen, it really did land on treasured, blessed ground. And I'm grateful. So, thank your Air Force people for it.
Phyllis?
Yes.
It is now a part of our Welsh heritage. Our people appreciated what these young men gave. Although they hadn't gone into battle, they had given their lives during the last war. And as far as we are concerned here in Wales, each one of them is a Welshman.
I know you know
as well as a Canadian. And
they are.
It's been an immense privilege in having you and your family over here. I know it's a sad occasion, but I'm glad that the weather has stayed the way it has so that you can appreciate what we have in this area as well. I have sat here in all weathers, in the snow, in the rain, in the fog, with friends, on my own, and I've always wondered, will I ever meet members of the family? And I have.
And we are family.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know it.
Okay.
The sister of a Canadian airman who died in a crash on the Brecon Beacons during the Second World War has made an emotional journey to the site where he died. A service to remember the crew is held every year where the Wellington bomber came down. Mike Griffiths reports.
It's the site of one of Wales's most poignant landmarks. Cold and remote, Carreg Goch is the resting place of Wellington bomber MF509. It crashed on a training exercise in 1944. The 6 Canadian airmen on board all lost their lives. Now in her 80s, the sister of Bill Allison, the plane's bomb aimer, is visiting the site for the first time. Phyllis Burns was tracked down by the family of a local man who'd retrieved a photo from the crash.
When I heard about this, I was in my 70s, 7 years ago. I took too sick to come, but I've never forgotten it. And I felt that this was the time for me to come. And in a way, it's been a blessing because I've brought members of my family, and it's a terrific education for them.
The bodies of Bill Allison and the crew were laid to rest in Chester. Their families went for decades without knowing where the plane actually came down. Close to the wreckage is a memorial to the crew. It's still looked after by people living nearby.
I've always been interested in this particular aircraft. It had developed more so almost 8 years ago now when they realised, especially out in Canada, that this aircraft had come down on Carreg Goch here in Wales on a Mynydd Du.
Si tu vois mon pays malheureux.
Nearly 70 years on, the bomber and its crew are still remembered across the world. Mike Griffiths, ITV News.
it was something surreal when I started to liaise with Phyllis and her family out in Canada there, and to me it's given me an immense pleasure that they come over here to Wales and have, I hope, a real good Welsh welcome.
I have to signal out Arwell because he's been my main thread, and Bill Gray has been right behind him. I've learned to just absolutely adore them. I love them. They're my pals. I said I feel as if I knew them, but I don't think I can get to the top of the mountain anymore. But I'll go to Wales and we'll have a ceremony at the bottom because I want to meet Arwell.
I hope it'll bring peace to them then, that with Phyllis, that it will sort of tie the knot, that after almost 69 years, she's at last managed to come to where her brother was during his last day.
I feel not deep sorrow, but deep gratitude that this is where he lay and that he's with people who love him and whom I'm sure he loves. So if it had to happen, it was a grace that he died. He wouldn't have been getting that kind of treatment in Canada. But the Canadians are certainly interested in this story. I mean, it's an amazing story. I just feel I'm here for all of my family. I wish I could talk to my sisters and my mother and my father, and guess what's happened? But I can't. I know my parents would be grateful. I hope they know up there. I feel so sad they did not know this. It would have meant the world. They went to Chester to his grave, but they didn't know this, and this is the heart of it. So God bless the Wells.
Obviously, I've had a chance during the walk to talk to the various family members, and I understood a bit more, what it was all about. Obviously, I read, like anybody else, from the news or the information there's on the internet about this crash site, but now walking along with the family members, I found out what that meant to them of being here today, especially like having, the sister of one of the last member of the crew of that Wellington bomber. So that's very emotional. Because there's no great war going right now, but there's always a chance that you can be called up for duty, and you can always think that you could be one of them, and with the rest of the family left behind. So I guess in that perspective that never changed. We'll just keep praying for these fallen comrades and hope for the best in the future.
Can you sing? Wel eto i ddod ar newyddion 9, taith emosiynol gyda Rhodri Llywelyn a hanes sy'n dyddio nôl i 1994.
Ar ben y banne, lle mae yna olion un o awyrennau'r ail ryfel byd, Pererindod teulu o Ganada yn dod i ben. Fe gymrodd hi bron i 2 awr gyda ffederolwyn. Yn 83, dyma'r unig ffordd y gallai Phyllis Burns gyrraedd y safle uwchben Abercraf, lle cafodd hi brawd i ladd. Ar 2 drod, roedd hi'n daith hirach fyth i genedlaethau iau y teulu draw o Ganada. Ro'n nhw'n dechrau sylweddoli i Bill Allison farw nid yn unig ar dir tramor, ond ar dir diffeth.
The Wellingtons exhibit their versatility.
Aelod o awyrlu Canada oedd Bill ac yn hyfforddi ar y Wellington bomber pan ath honno i drafferthion gan daro llethr carreg goch flwyddyn cyn diwedd yr ail ryfel byd. Doedd dim cuddio'r teimladau wrth gyrraedd gweddillion awyren MF 509. Tomen o fetal a ffram un aden yn dal i'w gweld yn glir.
I feel completed. I feel very grateful. It had to be. It was a horrible death, but it was a sacred ground of roses that they landed on.
Yr 18fed o Dachwedd 1944 oedd hi ar tywydd yn arw. Problem dechnegol mae'n debyg oedd yn gyfrifol am y ddamwen ac fe gath 6 aelod y criw i lladd. Ond am spel doedd neb yn gwybod beth ddigwyddodd nac ymhle hyd yn oed.
Rwy'n ila pob eiliad I fi gallu ar y mynydd yma yn cerdded efo ni am yr man yma yn rhyw fan cysygredig mae beth ydw i'n bod.
Ac yn fwy special fyth ar ôl heddi?
Fwy special byth o gol heddi, yn wedi bod Phyllis wedi llwyddo dy draw o'r diwedd. Oedd hi'n gweud, oedd hi'n cofio pan oedd hi'n 12 oed aros gyda'i mam, gwely brawd yn cerdded I gadael gatre. A'i mam yn gweud, fe welwn ni byth eto, a fe welwn ni byth yna eto.
Mae fe'n rhan bwysig yn hanes y fro mewn ffordd i fobl yn y pen Cwm Tawe. I ni gyd yn gwybod amdano fe. Mae'r hen fobl, o'n nhw'n deithio nhw lan yma pryd digwyddodd yr achlysur. Ond rhyw ffordd mae fe wedi bod yn bererindod i ni gyd fel plant ifanc i ddod lan i weld yr awyren.
Mon pays malheureux.
Can draddodiadol am grwydryn o Ganada glodd seremoni fer. Teyrnged ar y mynydd i daith ddath i ben dis-ymwth yn y banne.
Va dire à mes amis.
It is a very emotional sight, I think. Amazing.
Can we get a shot of you all? Yeah. And then click it to yeah. Bill, you going to get in the picture as well? You're going to blink, somebody is. I said, look at me, the gentleman there. That's right, yeah. That's the way to be. And to me again, thank you.
Your brother died in 1944. It's a long while ago.
Yes.
But you only found out about this place very recently. Tell us a
7
little
years
bit of the history.
Well, when my brother died, he was buried in Chester. And there are a lot of hills around Chester. So we assumed that he died in Chester. But at McGill, there were 2 men, Wes Cross and Christopher, who were researching their vets. And they decided that they'd like to do more for the vets at McGill. So they got on the net. But through that, they found out who these boys were, that they weren't Brits, they were Canadians. There were 7 of them, they got their names. So they came to the house and said, oh, you look like just your brother, because they'd done all this research. And that's began it. So we said the thing to do then is to go over. So yes, it's emotional, but 7 years, I've seen many, many pictures. It's just like pinch, I'm here, I am here, this is not a dream, I am here. And I had a very strong feeling that it would be a wonderful day up here. And it is. How could it be any better than today? I mean,
perfect.
It's perfect. Such a comfort that he landed here, and there's people like Garwell that care about them, you know?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Si tu veux mon pays, you should not be repeated. Okay, I agree, 100%. So, okay. Un Canadien errant, banni de ses foyers. Un Canadien errant, banni de ses foyers. Parcourait en pleurant des pays étrangers. Accourait en pleurant des pays étrangers. Si tu vois mon pays malheureux.
souviens de...
So we can slow the last line.
Yeah.